The words weren't just spoken. They were detonated. The wedding is cancelled. I've fallen out of love with you. Evan's voice, cool and clear, sliced through the clatter of cutlery and conversation in the upscale Seattle bistro. Every head at the Saturday brunch service swiveled toward our window table, the one he'd specifically asked the host for. My champagne flute, halfway to my lips, froze in midair. The silence he created was louder than any scene. My name is Clara. I'm 28. And in that suspended second, something deep within me didn't shatter. It snapped shut, final and firm. I set my glass down with a quiet clink. Evan watched me with a familiar expression I could finally name, not pain, but predatory curiosity. He was waiting for the collapse. His college roommates, Derek, Mark, and Paul, sat at the next table over, his spontaneous lunch companions, leaning in with poorly masked expectation. "Thank you for your clarity," I said, my voice a calm pool in the sudden quiet. A flicker of confusion crossed his eyes. Wrong script. I reached for my left hand and slid off the 2-carat solitaire he'd presented at his sister's lavish wedding, ensuring a full ballroom's attention. I dropped it into my clutch. "You know," I continued, a surreal serenity wrapping around me, "I believe this calls for a celebration. A dodged-the-bullet soiree." A stifled laugh came from his friend's table. Evan's mouth quirked. He'd orchestrated this public dismantling, chosen the stage, hired the audience. But I wasn't performing my part. The snickers died as I stood, smooth and unshaken. I placed enough cash for my eggs Benedict and a hefty tip. The server would earn her stories today. "Quite the production, Evan," I observed, gathering my coat. Saturday brunch, a packed house, your personal Greek chorus. Very dramatic. His jaw tightened. "I owed you the truth." "And you delivered it," I nodded. "More truth, perhaps, than you knew you were giving." I glanced at his friends, their amusement now replaced by unease. "Gentlemen, your attendance has been educational." The walk to the exit was a gauntlet of stairs. But the heat on my skin wasn't shame. It was the flush of sudden, stunning clarity. For years, he hadn't just ended it. He'd staged a public execution of our relationship, and in doing so, handed me my freedom. Outside, the Pacific Northwest drizzle felt like a baptism. In my car, the dam didn't break. Instead, a crystal-clear realization washed over me. I had just witnessed the man's authentic soul, and it was someone I would never choose. My phone lit up with a text from my sister, Lena. "How's brunch?" "Wedding's off," I typed. "Details later. But I'm good. Really good." Her reply was instant. "On my way."
Wine. Talk.
As I drove away, I saw through the bistro window. Evan surrounded by his friends, probably diagnosing my shock. He had no idea. He'd just unlocked a cage I'd stopped noticing. The next hours were an archaeological dig through our relationship. I'd met him at 24, a junior graphic designer dazzled by a 26-year-old tech associate's polished confidence. I'd folded my life to fit his, saw less of my impractical artist friends, moved from my vibrant neighborhood to a sleek high-rise, shelved my freelance dreams for a stable, agency job he approved of. My mother's worried question at Thanksgiving echoed, "Sweetheart, does this man bring you joy?" I'd waved her off. "We're building a life, Mom." But joy wasn't in our blueprint. Control was. The proposal had been at his company's gala, a spectacle for his colleagues. The wedding planning was a series of my concessions, small. Intimate versus 300-people grandeur, a garden party versus a downtown hotel monument. "This is about our future, Clara," he'd say, meaning his ladder, his image. Sitting in my quiet apartment, the silence wasn't empty. It was full of possibility. My phone buzzed. "Evan, you're not acting like yourself. We need to talk properly." For the first time in 4 years, I didn't answer. The power in that silence was electrifying. When Lena arrived, wine in hand, I told her everything. The staged lunch, the watching friends, my bizarrely calm exit. "I knew," she breathed. "I watched you shrink for years. But you weren't ready to see it." "He wanted me to break," I said. He had Derek filming on his phone. I saw it when I stood up. Lena's face went cold. He wanted a recording. Proof of your devastation for what? His ego? His buddies? That was the chilling question. This was more than cruelty. It was a calculated performance with intended footage. For what? I'm having that party, I declared, the idea solidifying into a plan. Not to spite him, but to rewrite the story. He'll tell everyone he mercifully freed himself. I'll show everyone I escaped. Lena grinned, a fierce, loving thing. The Clara I remember is back. The following days were a flurry of quiet reclamation. I called vendors. The venue manager, remembering my quiet distress during tastings, offered to convert our non-refundable deposit into a credit. For what date? She asked. 3 weeks from Saturday, I said. A new beginnings celebration. The florist, the baker, they weren't surprised. He never let you choose the peonies you loved, the florist gently recalled. Evan's messages grew frantic. People are asking questions. Stop this party nonsense. You're embarrassing yourself. I didn't reply. Instead, I found a hidden file in our shared wedding drive. Priority guest briefings. A list of his contacts with notes. Update. Mutual decision. Clara struggled with the pressure. He wasn't just leaving me. He was launching a preemptive smear campaign. I closed the file, a cold finality settling in my bones. My party wasn't just a celebration. It was a counter-narrative, a reclaiming, an invitation sent not just to my friends, but to every person on that briefing list with a simple, elegant script. You are cordially invited to celebrate Clara's narrow escape. Formal attire optional. Freedom required. The bullet had been fired in a crowded bistro. But I was the one who walked away, unharmed and finally awake. The real show was just beginning.